I'm Jessica, 63. Standing outside the federal courthouse in downtown Pittsburgh, I take a deep breath, the weight of the past year finally starting to lift. The courtroom is packed with the faces of those affected by the woman who nearly destroyed my family. Esme, now in an orange jumpsuit, sits at the defendant's table, a far cry from the polished woman who once dined at my table. 6 months ago, my world was turned upside down. It was during a family dinner, a sacred tradition in our household. We gathered around the mahogany table that my husband Richard and I had bought 38 years ago when we first moved in. But that night, there was an electric tension in the air. My daughter-in-law, Lily, had been unusually quiet during dinner. Normally, she was full of comments about the house, the food, or how things should be done differently. But that night, she sat across from me, her perfectly manicured fingers drumming against her wine glass, a strange little smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Suddenly, she handed me an envelope. "Since you're too stupid to notice, here are the photos of me sleeping with your husband," she said coldly. My son, Daniel, looked up from his plate, confusion creasing his brow. Richard shifted uncomfortably in his chair, his fork clattering against his plate. I pretended to be shocked as I opened the envelope. Inside were 8 by 10 glossy prints of Richard and Lily in compromising positions. Richard tried to explain, but Lily cut him off, laughing and declaring their love for each other. Daniel was devastated, and I could feel the rage building inside me, but I held it back. I'd been waiting for this moment for 3 months. 3 months earlier, I was folding laundry in the master bedroom when I heard Richard's phone buzz on the nightstand. He was in the shower, and out of curiosity, I glanced at the lock screen. The message, "Can't wait to feel you inside me again," Elle, made my blood run cold. I knew immediately who Elle was. Lily. I sat down heavily on the edge of the bed, my mind racing. How long had this been going on? How many family gatherings had I hosted while they were having an affair? I decided to investigate. I found that Lily's story about her first husband, Mark, who she claimed died in a car accident, didn't add up. There were inconsistencies in the marriage certificate she'd shown us. So, I hired a private investigator, Jake. Jake discovered that Mark was very much alive and living in Phoenix. He also found out that Lily was a bigamist and a professional con artist. She had targeted older, wealthy men, seduced them, and then disappeared with their money. She had done this at least twice before, leaving a trail of destroyed lives in her wake. I also learned that Richard was being blackmailed by Lily. 20 years ago, Richard was involved in a property development deal called the Riverview Project. There were some irregularities in the paperwork, and Lily had obtained copies of the documents from a man she'd seduced who worked on the project. She threatened to expose Richard if he didn't help her get close to Daniel and gain access to our family's finances. Richard, afraid of losing everything, his business, our house, and our reputation, agreed to her demands. But he never intended for things to go as far as they did. He was seduced by Lily, and he thought he could control the situation. Once I had all the information, I came up with a plan. I decided to work with the FBI to expose Lily. They wanted me to wear a wire and get her to confess to her previous crimes. It was a risky plan, but I knew it was the only way to stop her. I arranged a meeting with Lily at a small cafe downtown. When I confronted her about Mark and showed her the evidence of her other cons, she was shocked. But when I told her I wanted to join her in her next con, she was intrigued. She started bragging about her previous successes, how she had manipulated men into giving her their money. The recording device hidden on me captured every word. She even admitted to planning to help along Richard's death so she could inherit our family's wealth. Just then, the FBI agents walked in. Lily realized what was happening and tried to escape, but it was too late. She was arrested for fraud, theft, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit murder. After Lily's arrest, I had to face the aftermath. Richard and I got divorced. Daniel was initially devastated, but he eventually healed. He even started helping Mark, who was starting a support group for victims of romance scams. I, too, decided to make a change in my life. I'm thinking about going back to school to study criminal justice or psychology. I want to understand how people like Lily can manipulate others so easily. As I watch Lily being led away by the bailiff, I feel a sense of closure. The past year has been a nightmare, but it has also been a wake-up call. I'm no longer the woman who is afraid to rock the boat. I'm stronger now, and I'm ready to embrace the new beginning that lies ahead. Now, I'm curious about you who listened to my story. What would you do if you were in my place? Have you ever been through something similar?
Comment Bilo?
And meanwhile, I'm leaving on the final screen two other stories that are channel favorites, and they will definitely surprise you. Thank you for watching until here.